Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Leslie presents. And now your host, Paul Leslie.
Aloha to the guys from ALO, also known as the Animal Liberation Orchestra. We have
Dan,
Dave,
Zach,
and Steve.
Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having welcome.
So the first thing that popped into my mind when I started listening to your guys' music is, and I'm sure you get tired of answering this question, how did you come up with the name Animal Liberation Orchestra?
Well, it began when we were in college, and we were all very much a product of like the university music department. So it was kind of a bit of a parody. I mean, it resonated with us in the idea that it was kind of a parody on some of the other orchestras that were on the campus. But it was also suggested to us by a friend. We sort of we were looking for a new name. We molded around it, but then we thought it would be cool too, because it was kind of like, at the time we had a big horn section, so it was a little more orchestral just in its look, and we thought it would be, seemed like a good name for like a real rowdy funk band. It was the Animal Liberation Orchestra and the Free Range Horns was the original.
So when someone asks you guys, how do you describe your music, what do you normally say? Anyone want to take that?
Fun music.
Fun music?
Fun music, I think that's one thing you could say.
I usually say funky and folky and jammy and poppy a little bit. I think we listen to all kinds of music and we bring all that stuff into what we write and create. And there's some improvisational elements to the show and stuff too. Like to stretch songs out, dancing.
Oh, great. Okay. One of my favorite songs on the disc I was listening to is Barbecue, and one of the lines really struck me, and that's where we roast all the dreams that never came true. So tell me a little bit about Barbecue.
What about the barbecue where we roast all the dreams that never came true?
Yeah, sure. This is Zach speaking.
Well, it's just kind of a metaphor for something that we might do with our dreams, cooking them or overcooking them, whichever way you want to look at it. Kind of came out of it's kind of about a positive way of maybe like letting go of some dreams so that new ones can creep back in. Because like in the song it says, we kind of have an endless capacity to make up new dreams, but like there's not really enough time in life to make all of them come true. So, you kind of have to decide which ones you're going to put on the barbecue.
One of the songs, you guys are out on tour with Jack Johnson, and one of the songs is called Girl, I Want to Lay You Down. And it features Jack Johnson on rhythm guitar and some vocals. So how did you guys get hooked up with Jack Johnson?
We all lived in the dorms together. We went to school at UCSB in Santa Barbara. And yeah, we met him in the dorms. He had a band, and we had a band, and we would do shows together, sometimes different parties across the street from each other and whatnot. We all just stayed in touch over the years and, played music for each other all the time. And Zach actually is playing keyboards in Jack's band now, too. So
it's true.
Sometimes we'd have Jack, or sometimes he would offer to come down and like sit in with the band too. So we'd do like a park show or whatever in Santa Barbara, and he would come down and just sit in. We'd play one of his songs. And so there's always been sort of a camaraderie.
Yeah, we kind of had like a little musical scene. There was like his band and our band, and there was a lot of playing shows together. Then there was a lot of, after his band broke up, there was a lot of just backing him up and showing each other songs and that kind of thing. Just lots of fun. Lots of like late night jams with Jack on the drums.
And that's a song also that I think Jack, he kind of early on like heard it and liked it and stuff, and whenever we would have him sit in on one of our tunes, that's one that he liked to do. So it kind of made sense when we were doing our album to see if he was interested to join us on it.
So I understand you guys ran into our old pal Jimmy Buffett.
It's true.
What was that like?
It's quite exciting. First I thought it was Jack's dad because I came up from behind, but then I realized it was Jimmy Buffett quickly. It was really great. I mean, yeah, it was cool. It was neat. He was a nice guy.
it was cool to see, like, I thought like how Jack's audience just immediately like they were so excited. I mean, obviously just the fact that it's Jimmy Buffett, but I think even musically there's sort of a it's a kinship, and it was really cool to see how he just fit right in, you know, this whole night of music. And then all of a sudden, you know, sometimes someone comes and sits in, and it's like it takes it outside for a second or something different, but it just felt like part of the show. It was all natural.
I noticed that there was a ukulele, and I'm trying to pick up the uke myself.
Wow.
I'm a huge ukulele fan. Have you guys heard of Jake Shimabukuro?
Yeah,
He rocks.
he rips, to say the least.
So tell me about the song Spectrum, and it's kind of got like a little island sound to it with the ukulele and the congas. It's a really cool song.
Yeah, you know, it's just kind of, you know, we've been to Hawaii a bunch of times, and I think Dave's got an ukulele, and I've got an ukulele, and it's definitely a sound that we use a lot in the band, especially recently. I think Spectrum was maybe one of the first experiments with it. There's a lot of new songs that kind of use it as well.
You didn't start out with that feel either, right? I remember you played me a version you worked on with my brother.
Yeah, there's a different version of that song floating around.
Yeah, it's kind of neat how songs sometimes, you know, they start one way and start bringing other instruments in, it takes on a whole new feel.
So Dave, how did you pick up the uke?
I just picked it up kind of through osmosis from Zach. I saw Zach got one, I wanted one too. But it just seemed like a really easy kind of version of a little guitar to carry around, you know, because for writing, yeah, because I do a lot of writing on guitar and stuff, and usually when we're on tour, we're in a very confined vehicle, and we can't bring a lot of extra stuff along. There's just room for my drums, so I thought the uke might be cool, kind of. But I mean, I never would have got one if we hadn't. We go to Hawaii pretty regularly, so they're a little cheaper over there, and one was in the shop, and I just got it.
It's a sweet little instrument.
Yeah, it is.
It's great.
We joked about starting like a ukulele band, you know, like getting like the baritone and the tenor. So,
Yeah.
We haven't done it yet, though. We'll see one of these days.
Oh, will I hear any ukulele tonight?
So.
I think so, actually. Yeah, right at the start.
Yeah, that's the first song.
Right on.
Yeah, we're into the ukulele.
Oh, cool.
Pro uke.
We just did a show with Jake Shimabukuro. And
Oh, really?
I called it, Here's Uking at You. And there's another song called Wasting Time, Isla Vista song. And I really like that one, too. So tell us a little bit about that one.
Brogan.
Well, it was just kind of like, I just wanted to talk about, like, kind of what my day-to-day life was like at the time that, you know, we were living in Isla Vista. It was kind of like post-college for me. And so I was kind of in this state. Isla Vista is the town that we all went to. It's the town adjacent to the UC Santa Barbara, which is where we all went to school, all went to college. And Isla Vista is the town right next to it. It's pretty much all students. So like a big 18,000 students packed in this 1 square mile of like streets and apartment buildings. So it's got a real certain culture, you know. It's got a real student culture, but it's also got kind of like a beach bummy kind of culture as well. And by the time I'd like gotten out of college, I was pretty entrenched in the culture of IV because I was still living there. So I'd been there for like, by that point, like 6 years or something. But it was also kind of a time where it was like, you know, you're kind of like post-college, but you haven't really like got your life in full swing yet. It was kind of like a meta period of like in-betweenness, you know? And so that's kind of where like the chorus comes from, like, I never learned, but I don't mind, I'm just wasting time. I think it even even think the idea of learning kind of like with college and everything. And then just my verse that I wrote on there was just kind of about my day-to-day kind of life in that town during that period, which is just like sitting around smoking pot and going over to people's houses and watching Grateful Dead videos or whatever, you know, might be happening that day.
You had something else to add?
Well, Zach actually wrote the second verse to that, and I think his verse is similar to Dave's, just like a day-to-day experience in Isla Vista. But I remember when that song was first kind of sprouting was just before we left for Georgia, and the band went to Georgia for a summer, and it was right when we met Dave too. And we went out there as a band, kind of played the Southeast a little bit. But that song kind of sprouted up in the garage in Isla Vista, and we were just kind of jamming on a groove or whatever, and people were just kind of rapping and, you know, just kind of jamming it. And then I think it took on more meaning for us. What's that?
Yeah, we were just rapping and shit, dropping knowledge.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I think in Georgia it had more meaning for us too, because like it
really did.
became
It became like a home.
became like a song that we would sing about our home.
It kind of got finished in Georgia.
It got finished.
Like I remember writing my verse. Dave had a verse and a chorus. I remember my verse came about thinking about Isla Vista or something that had happened, and then like being like on the. I remember like staying up all night on our porch, and we lived in Augusta for about 3 months before.
So we're in Georgia now.
Yeah, we're in Georgia, so this is
Close to
timely to talk about.
that spot.
That's a cool thing too about that song. I think that it's really fun on the road. You know, as we travel throughout the country, you know, even the world. It's a fun little glimpse. You know, kind of like what Dave was saying about what our whole experience was. But it's always fun because you can kind of connect with other people who might have had a similar experience. You know, it's like telling people about your hometown or something. So, yeah, it's a song about our hometown.
It very much has that post-college thing. I think even when we used to play it in Georgia, like, you know, which is far away from Isla Vistas, seemed like people really liked it there too. Mm-hmm. You know, just like the kids that we were playing for at the time.
This is a question I love to ask everyone. And if you guys could, you know, I state your name, just say your name, and then, since this goes out all over the world, what would you like to say to the world? What would you like to say? So, let's hear what you,
what would I like to say to the world?
what would you like to say?
Wow, that's heavy. Wow, that's heavy. I mean, a lot of things pop into my mind. But what's the one thing to say to the world, huh?
The first guy's got it rough, then you guys have time to think.
I got it rough. I'm kind of working this out.
You gotta allow time. I don't think you have to. I mean,
Anybody have
you
anything?
can edit out like the thinking part.
Yeah, let me think.
I could speak without thinking. Free thinking, but
Say it. Let's hear it.
do you want me to do an I statement? Is that?
Just say, this is whoever, and
Oh, okay. This is Steve Adams from ALO, and I'd like to say, well, to the world, to encourage compassion and understanding and patience. And there's so many things that are, you know, going on in the world today, in our country and every other country, you know, in the world really. And I just, you know, I hope we can all work it out together so we all feel good about who we are in this time and place.
And Zach?
Well said, Steve. One thing that I would say to the world, if I had a chance, no, this is my chance. This is it. Well, something about trying to have a good time, but obviously not having you can't have a good time all the time. But always trying to make every time good on some level, you know, even if that's a time of mourning, trying to, you know, I don't know, I'm just rambling.
Oh, that's good.
That's a tough question there.
It is a tough question. I've never answered it myself, but now it's time for Mr. David Brogan.
what would I say
You want more
to
time,
the
huh?
world? You got yours?
I got mine, yeah.
All right.
If you want more time, I'm just...
Go for it.
Well, David Brogan's going to take a break. Here we are.
Sometimes you need a break. Okay, so one thing that popped into my mind is I think it's really good to try to be open-minded just in general throughout life. I know in a little bit of world travels, you know, over the past couple of years, talking to a lot of people, you know, around the world, it's easy to lump groups together. It's like these people do this, these people think this way. So kind of open-minded coming from that spot of like, I mean, you know, we all generalize about the way things are, but, you know, realizing that everyone's an individual, you know, and if, you know, just in the way world relations are, like, could be upset at a certain place, it's not, you know, you can't be upset at everyone, you know, in a certain place. Maybe it's just a couple people actually, and they're the voice of a certain place. So I think try to be open-minded. and have a good time doing so.
That's a good one. Always do your best.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
That's a good one. If you can.
Yeah.
But always, whatever your best is, that always changes. That's a good one.
I have another one.
Okay.
Breathe.
Sweet.
That's good.
So what do we got? We got people.
And another one. Breed.
Don't breed. No, don't breed.
Stop it.
Kurt Vonnegut.
We're gonna breed.
Kurt Vonnegut's got some on his his character in here on his tombstone. He wants it to say, "Here lies Kilgore Trout. Sometime, I tried."
Now, Mr. David Brogan, you've had a sip of beer, some time. What's on your mind?
I have time to mull it over. Well, that reminds me of what Zach just said reminds me of the epitaph from Slaughterhouse 5.
Oh, right.
Because everything was beautiful and nothing hurt.
Oh,
But
nice.
I would say my message to the world is treat others as you'd like to be treated.
The golden rule.
And that especially goes out to the Americans. And then also, I had something else I wanted to say. It was like a punctuation to that. Oh, yes, use contraceptives. That one goes out to the Catholic Church.
Okay, guys, thanks so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah.